Welcome back to Sorare Assist. Adam here, got another end of season sale video for you today, where I'll be concentrating on some top targets that you should consider for your SO5 squads. If you like this video, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're not signed up to Sorare yet, there is a link in the description below if you did want to get signed up today. You get a free limited card and also 13 common cards. So the end of season sale is now here, and I'm going to be showcasing some top targets in terms of price and quality for the SO5 scoring matrix. Today I'm going to be picking players from the Portuguese Primeira Liga. If you want early access to these videos, then join my Patreon or become a member of this YouTube channel by clicking that join button below. This will get you early access to all the scouting videos on Sorare Assist. None of this content is financial advice, and always do your own research. Okay, without further ado, let's get straight stuck into the Portuguese selections then. Starting with the goalkeepers, I will then be covering the defenders, some midfielders, and also the forwards in this video. So first up then, in terms of the goalkeeper, I've gone for Odysseus of Benfica. Goalkeeper's only 28, he's got an L40 of 47, L15 of 49. Currently, he can get his limited card for around £214, and his rare is going for around 1,480. If we look at his rare price on the price graph here, back in February 2022, it was going for £2,693. It's a lot cheaper than the recent purchases and the current floor price. In terms of his limited card, there was one selling back here again in February for £379. There was a few more here, one for £338 here, £354. Now his current price at the time of recording, the floor price is £214. As you can see, that's a very big saving. And this goalkeeper is going to get you consistently good scores as well. If we look at his score graph, we can see some fantastic numbers here for a goalkeeper. He's got 32 scores in the 60 to 70 range as well, which is really impressive. So it looks like a definitely good purchase in the goalkeeper position. In terms of defenders then, the first one I've gone for is Nicolas Otamendi. Yes, he is 34, but he has got a contract until the end of next season with Benfica. There's obviously could be potential stack as well with Odysseus. He has an L40 of 59, which is looking fantastic, and an L15 of 60. Time of recording, his limited price is going for around 83, and his rare is going for around 452. Looking at his rare pricing back in January, it was going for £1,423. As you can see, that's nearly £1,000 saving for the ex-Man City player. 1,253 here, this was in February. And if we look at his limited card, so back here at its peak, it was going for 296, and there was a few more around the 263 range. This was all back in February. He's currently going for £83. As you can see, that is a fantastic saving on a player who's going to get you some really good scores. Obviously a very experienced player as well. Otamendi, previously played in the Premiership for Man City. He's got some brilliant scores here, and I expect him to be an important player for Benfica as well next season. Another good defender for Benfica is Grimaldo, only 26. He has an L40 of 59 and an L15 of 57. At the minute, his limited is going for around £85 and his rare is going for around 510. But if we look back here on his rare card back on the 15th of Feb, he was going for £1,007. That's nearly a half price saving. And his limited card back here as well, February, was going for around 191. 191 here at the end of February. As you can see, that's a very big saving. Currently on Grimaldo, who is only 26 still, and a very good scoring player. Looking at his graph, he's got a sea of green numbers here. I don't expect that being a different next season or the following seasons after that. He's got 24 scores in the 60 to 70 range as well, and 12 in the 70 to 80. Not only that, he's got 9 in the 90 to 100 range, which is absolutely fantastic. Next up, we've got another Benfica player, bit of a theme going here, and that is Vertonghen. He's 35, but like Otamendi, he has got a contract till the end of next season with Benfica. He's got an L40 of 56 and L15 of 59. He's going for a very cheap looking £20. And his rare card is going for around 152. Now, looking at his graph here, the rare card was selling for 489 back here. That's a very good saving on his current price. And if we look at his limited, there's one here sold for 51, one here sold for 44. This was just in February. There's also one sold back here as well in December 21 for 63. As you can see, that's a very big saving on the current price of £20. Now looking at his scores then, some consistent numbers here, a very good consistent performer. He's got 24 scores in the 60-70 range and also 13 scores in the 70 to 80 range. So to me it looks like a really budget option for a fantastic Benfica side. So the next defender, I've gone for another one that looks cheap as well, is Chancel Mbemba of Porto. Only 27, L40 of 52 and an L15 of 55. Limited at the moment is going for around 23 quid and his rare card is going for around 181. In terms of his rare card, back in January is going for 371. There was one sold here in February for 369 and his limited here was £58 and 55 here in January. And then currently, more recently, someone's purchased this guy for £22 on the 12th of May. Looking a really cheap player to me who's playing at the top side in the Portuguese league. He's also got some really impressive scores as well, especially in this period here and also this period here. And obviously these scores are good as well. And he's got 20 scores in the 60-70 range, 10 scores in the 70 to 80 range. So it does look a really, really good option to me at a very cheap price. Now moving on to the midfielders, and a teammate of Mbemba is the consistent Otavio of Porto. Only 27, L40 of 60, L15 of 61. Very consistent performance, this guy. Very good high scoring player as well. Now his limited is going for around 133 and his rare is going for around 1037. Back here, people are willing to pay £1,999 for his rare card. There's another one here on auction for 1,800 and there's another one here for 1,563. There was quite a recent one as well at the end of March for 1,664. More recently someone's picked him up for £1,000. Turns is limited, there was his peak here in February for £358, 345 there, 282 there, 283. More recently someone's picked up a real bargain and got him for £124, probably with next season in mind. Looks a very good cheap budget player this to me, very consistent, really good, built for the scoring matrix. If we just look at some of his scores, this graph is going to show you that. He's got some absolutely fantastic numbers here. He's got 26 scores in the 60-70 range, 12 in the 70 to 80, 9 in 80 to 90 and 8 in the 90 to 100. Looks like potentially money well spent here for this player if you are after a consistent midfielder in your Challenger Europe lineups. Another good midfielder is Benfica's Rafa. It's going for around £42 at the minute and his rare card is going for around 452. Now he is currently injured at the time of recording, but it's nothing major and he is expected to be back in the Benfica squad before long. He's got an L40 of 57 and L15 of 51. His limited at the moment is going for 42 and his rare is going for around £450. Now his rare back here in January was going for £1,550 and there was also one here a little bit more recently in February for £1,000. So he's looking cheap at the moment for 452. And his limited, there was one here for 248, 237 in January. There was one here that was snapped up for a lot of money by the looks of things, 334. But the general price at his peak was around 190, £200, 230. More recently, someone's really picked up a good bargain here for 40 quid on the 14th of May. The manager who bought this guy knows what he's doing, so as you can see, he's going to reward him with some fantastic scores here to potentially get some good places in the SO5 tournaments. He's got 21 scores in the 60-70, 11 in the 70-20, and he's also got 9 in the 80-90 as well, which is looking really impressive. So it looks a really cheap budget option to me. Probably with his recent injury as well, that's probably going to help reduce his price a little bit as well to get even more of a bargain. And next up, we've got the Pedro Gonçalves of Sporting. He's only 23, but he's only got under 23 eligibility until July 2022. So that's something to bear in mind. Come next season, he won't have that under 23 eligibility. He's got an L40 of 57 and L15 of 53. His limited card at the moment is going for around 135 and his rare is going for around £1,000. But looking back here, his rare was going for around £3,000, £2,800 here, £1,800 there. The most recent sale, which happened on the 9th of May, was for £1,000. Now obviously because his eligibility in the 23 division is going to be ended by next season, that's obviously going to affect his price as well. But if the under 23 division is not something that you really have to get a player for, then this guy looks an absolutely fantastic bargain to me. And it's got a really big reduction currently on his peak price. If we look at the peak price back here, was £4,000 in December. Now his limited card around here at his peak was going for around 570. This was in February again, 500 there. There's some more recently as well for 321. That was in the end of March. More recently, someone snapped him up for 135 on the 15th of May. Now, if we look at his scores, really good player for the scoring matrix here. As you can see, some fantastic high numbers. He's got 21 scores in the 60-70 and 16 scores in the 70 to 80 range. Looks a really consistent player to me, especially if he can potentially stay in the Challenge Europe division. I think he should continue to get scores like this. So on to the forwards now, and the first player I've gone for is Mehdi Taremi of Porto. Now there has been potential links to him moving away from Porto, so that might be something worth researching if you are looking to buy a striker. So obviously if he moves to another division, say the Premiership or something like that, then that's probably going to potentially reduce his scores. So think about that before you potentially buy Taremi. So he's only 29, he's got an L40 58 and L15 of 58. His limited is going for around 153 and his rare is going for around 1,200. Back in December, his rare was going for around 1,580, 1,400 here. There's also one here for 1,600. And as you can see, that's a good reduction there on his current price. In terms of his limited card, there was a bit of a peak here for 350. There's also one here as well in March, 286. And more recently, someone snapped him up for 145. So as you can see, you're going to get some really good savings on this guy. He's got some fantastic scores as well, as you can see here. He's got plenty of numbers as well around the 70 to 100 range. And in the last year, he scored 26 goals and 16 assists as well at Porto. So he's looking very consistent and a really good option for your SO5 team. So the next four I've gone for is Paulinho of Sporting, under 29, L40 52, L15 of 49. Price at the minute is going for around £30 and his rare is going for around 281. His rare back here was going for around 890, 982 here, and as I say, someone's recently picked him up for 281. His limited shows a similar story. Back here was going for around 137, 134. Most recent purchase from somebody has purchased him for £30. So that's around £100 saving there that player has got. And if you look at his SO5 scores over the last year, he's got some really good scores here for Sporting. He's also scored 14 goals and 5 assists over the last year as well, so he's looking really consistent. He's got 11 scores in the 60-70 range as well, so he's looking like he's going to get you some really consistent high numbers. So he's looking pretty good to me at around £30. Another good forward is Evan Nilsson of Porto. He's under 22 and he's got under 23 eligibility until 2024 as well, July 2024. At the minute, his limited is going for around 128 and his rare is going for around 960. Now back here, his rare was selling for around 2,279, 1,955 here, 1,718 here as well. More recently, someone has picked this guy up on auction for £960 on the 14th of May. So it looks like he snapped a real bargain here, judging from the previous prices. Now if we look at his limited card, he's selling for around 352 here in February. Another one here for 318, 219 here, 274 here in March. The most recent sale was sold for 132 on the 16th of May. So this looks like a really good saving here for a quality striker. Now the last year he's scored 14 goals and also got 4 assists. He's got some really good numbers as well in terms of his SO5 scoring. He's got 2 scores in the 90 to 100 range as well. So it does look a pretty good option here for an under 23 striker, or even just a striker in one of your SO5 teams. Now the final forward I've gone for this week is Nuno Santos of Sporting. Under 27, L40 51, L15 and 54. At the moment, his limited is going for around 38 and his rare is going for around 326. Back here his rare was going for 861, 888 here, this was in February. There's also one more recently for selling for 455, which looks cheap as well. This was in March. And as you can see, that's a lot higher than his current price of 387. If we look at his limited card then, so this was selling for around 156 back here. This was in January, 158 as well. £100 in February here. More recently, someone's picked him up for £35 on the 15th of May. So as you can see, it's a fantastic saving on a really consistent forward. If we look at his scores then, so in the last year he scored 7 goals, 7 assists. He's got some really good scores as well. He's got 6 in the 70-80 range and also 4 in the 80-90 range. That's just in the last year. So it's looking fairly a budget option to me for a really decent player as well for Sporting. So that was the best budget bargain options I could find in terms of quality for the SO5 scoring matrix and the price at the moment. As always though, do your own research, check if there's any transfer news on some of these players, because obviously that could potentially affect the scores, especially if they're going to move to a more difficult league. If you like this video, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Next on the end of season sale scouting videos, I'm going to be covering German Bundesliga. That's going to be a 3-part series because obviously there's quite a lot of teams that are licensed on Sorare. So make sure you subscribe, ping that notification bell so you get informed when those videos come out. If you want early access to these videos, you can become a member of this YouTube channel by clicking that join button below. This will give you early access to all scouting videos on the Sorare Assist YouTube channel before anybody else. Or you can become a patron where you'll also get early access plus weekly scouting from me. And if you're not signed up to Sorare yet, there is a link in the description below if you did wish to do that, to get yourself a free limited card and 13 common cards to start your collection today. Okay, thanks for watching and I'll see you again soon.